Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What is up, Lock Shoppers? Welcome to the show. Hope you had a great weekend. Masters didn't have a lot of drama at the end, unfortunately. Scotty Scheffler, minus 450. What are you going to do? It was just like the Players' Championship at plus 575. You thought that's the lowest number. Can we really bet it? Well, I did at the Players. I didn't at the Masters. And of course, like many of you, regretting not putting a big chunk on Scotty because there's Scotty Scheffler and there's everybody else right now in the world of professional golf. We're going to do a Masters recap. Pat Gregoire is just about to jump on. Dusty is tied up for the next 15-20. He will jump on as well. We'll get into actually a pretty busy Monday night in the National Hockey League. Well, we wait to get Pat in here. Shout out to the gang in the YouTube chat. And of course, everyone listening, streaming wherever they are on Edmonton Sports Talk. Penner's Pancakes, you are correct. Huss will just be glowing with the Jets shutting out the Stars and Avs in back-to-back games. Plus, Jimmy Uso got kicked out of the bloodline. I did catch that on Friday night. That was wild. Yes, we will talk hockey a little later on. It was an unreal weekend for the Winnipeg Jets. There's a lot of people around these parts freaking out when they lost 6 in a row. They have flipped the script, are on a 6-game heater right now. And to be honest, just had the 2 most impressive games of the season on the road against their 2 biggest division rivals, Dallas and Colorado. When the game on Saturday, 7-0, was beyond anyone's expectations. But yes, the vibes are high in Peg City looking ahead to the playoffs. Jets have just 2 games left at home. Kraken tomorrow, Vancouver on Thursday, and they need a point to lock up home ice in the first round of the playoffs. But we will start off with the Masters and welcome in my guy, Pat Gregoire. Patty, we got you in. How are you?
I can't really hear what you're saying here, Hustle. I'm going to try to rejoin again. No idea what's going on. I can see you.
You sound good.
I'm guessing you can hear me. Okay, here we go. I can finally hear you now. I can hear you.
Perfect.
I think we're good.
Perfect.
There we go. Well, not too sure what's happening there. So you're going to have to ask me that question again.
Yeah, I was just saying, what's up? How are you? And I mean, we'll get right into it. Masters weekend. We didn't have a lot of drama on that back 9. Scotty Scheffler and everybody else. He did it again. He is dominating the world of professional golf. And you know what? I guess in retrospect, when you've got a favorite as short as Scotty was, we shouldn't be surprised that he won by multiple strokes coming home.
No, we spent a full 60 minutes of breaking down our best bets, and yeah, some came home. But when it came down to outrights, I mean, all 3 of us said there's a real good chance Scotty Scheffler is going to walk away with his second green jacket, but you just can't possibly stomach betting a golf outright at that price. I think the time is now where you do have to stomach it because Scotty Scheffler is inevitable. He is absolutely inevitable. Golf Data tweeted something out earlier today that confirms what a lot of people were thinking, and it matches now the eye test. This run, the last 18 months or whatever you want to call it, even the last 12 months that we've seen from Scotty Scheffler is not quite Tiger-esque level, but it's the next best thing that we've seen. Even better than Vijay Singh's run that he went on in 2004. It's remarkable. It's crazy. It's something that I think golf fans need. And I did see a lot of complaining about how there was no drama. But, I mean, we haven't had the hype around golf quite like we ever had since Tiger's been around and dominating. And I think that was a big thing. So, yes, maybe he's not as polarizing as a figure as Tiger is, but maybe a dominant run from Scotty might be the thing that could rejuvenate golf. We know the hardcores are going to come back and watch. Because let's be honest, I don't think golf has ever been in a better place because of all the great talent that we have at this level. But we still don't have the buy-in from the casual fans. Maybe Scotty is that answer. Maybe that's what's going to spark the next generation of new golf fans.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, Scotty's not really the most dynamic personality,
No,
which is, I mean, it's one thing to have a superstar that's better than everybody else. It really helps when they have an electric charisma like Tiger Woods did. That's really not there with Scotty. And listen, his job is to go out and put the ball in the hole. Everything else will take care of itself. But I mean, listen, he's an easy guy to root for. I mean, there's people don't not like Scotty Scheffler. It's
right.
just that he doesn't really move the needle when it comes to, that real star power. But maybe for a game like golf, he's great. I will say this: I will kind of disagree that we're in a great place for golf just because of obviously what's happened with the LIV and the PGA Tour. And to me, that's one of the biggest takeaways, Scott, Pat. We can sort of see the LIV guys that basically just took the check and have checked out. Hello, DJ, Dustin Johnson, and some of the other guys that are still really grinding. I mean, very impressive week for Cam Smith, who was not in a good place coming in. And you know what? I'm going to give some credit to Bryson DeChambeau. Golf is better, even though he's a guy like there's a guy that he's very polarizing. You either love him or you hate him. And I'm kind of coming around to Bryson. He had that great opening round. He hung in there. Had that. His shot on 18 on Saturday after he'd sort of fallen back was absolutely magical. But overall, and I know the LIV guys will say, well, you get out of the top five, but then there's Cam Smith and Bryson and Hatton and Pat Reed. None of those guys were ever really in the mix to win the tournament. And I think overall, somewhat disappointing week for LIV. I guess a good week for the PGA Tour, but I think we'd all agree that it would be far better if we saw these guys playing together more often. And I don't know whether we're any closer to that today than we've been in the last year, even with all the talks about the potential merger or whatever was going on that was announced and nothing's really come of it.
Yeah, maybe I want to correct myself. When I say golf is in a spot or in a great spot, I mean from just the pure talent level that is on the PGA Tour. There are potential superstars. Look no further than Ludwig Aberg. I mean, you and I, Dusty, the hardcore golf fans knew who this guy is and has known who he is. But I think the casual sports fan was introduced to who Ludwig Aberg is. Big smile on his face, him giving high fives to the fans. He drops his power bar. I still to this day and probably going forward, we'll say if he doesn't drop that power bar, maybe he's the one who's able to dethrone Scheffler. The butterfly effect. But no, you look at him, you look at his game, you look at what he was able to do in his first Masters. Like that is a guy that I think has superstar potential. Max Homa, what a great story he was. His best performance at a major. He's got that personality. He's a guy that you like to cheer for. Even Colin Morikawa. Like Colin has been absolutely struggling over the past 12 months. Hasn't really been able to figure things out with his irons. He figured it out this week. And yes, he faded down the stretch. There's no denying. But he is another guy like, I think people forget how dominant he was just a few seasons ago. So I think there's a lot of big names on the PGA Tour. There's a lot of guys that do move the needle, but there's the fact that we don't get to see all the best golfers in the world at once. And because the golf world is so broken and fragmented, I do think that does kind of lose its luster for the casual golf fan. Mind you, I think, though, the best case scenario, what could have probably happened was if it was Scotty and Bryson, mano a mano coming down the stretch. I think that probably could have been a really, really good storyline. But what we saw there was pure dominance. And to be quite honest, when you look from a Scotty Scheffler standpoint, it really wasn't his best golf. He just found a way to win. Mind you, I think he gained like 8.5 strokes around the greens. That's just Scotty being Scotty. But all in all, I think we are in the Scotty Scheffler era right now. And until he shows any signs of slowing down, I think any of these big golf tournaments coming up, we'd be crazy not to think about betting on that. Because let's be honest, if it's a favorite, if you see a favorite in a hockey game, and I know a hockey game is very different from a full weekend of a golf tournament, but if you see a favorite at plus 400 and you're pretty certain the guy's going to win or the team's going to win, you'd take that in a heartbeat. You'd be like, what the hell's up with this line? Yeah, it's a little bit different with golf, but I mean, at some points this weekend, even when he was not leading, he was a couple strokes back of the lead. His odds on the live line were still like plus 110.
It was nuts.
It was crazy.
I mean, that's something that we can talk about right now. I mean, he did have that double on Saturday and had fallen 2 strokes back. And at that point, he was still the favorite at plus 300. That was the biggest number for Scotty at any point since the tournament started. And then yesterday, and again, we didn't get a lot of drama in the last half of the back nine. But there was a moment yesterday getting close to the turn where 4 players were tied at -6.
I know.
At that point, I thought we might be in for an incredible run. Unfortunately, Scotty took care of that on 8, 9, and 10 with back-to-back-to-back birdies.
And that's again, like, that's just Scotty being a closer. He's closed out. He's closed out. Let's not forget he's 2.5 foot putt away from actually this being 3 straight. Like, let's not forget he just narrowly missed out on that putt to win another tournament. Like, so again, we were really close to some drama down the stretch. It could have been a historic finish at a major tournament, at the Masters, at Augusta. You couldn't have asked for anything better. But the other guys, they kind of faltered down the stretch, and Scotty didn't lose a beat. So, yes, I get it. People were upset that we didn't quite get the drama, but the potential was there. And maybe it wasn't as dramatic as we wanted. I still thought it was a phenomenal weekend. I thought it was a great weekend for golf. And like I said off the top of the show, I think, and I know he doesn't have the personality that a Tiger Woods does, but maybe a historic run, a dominant run of a guy that people can like because he's a relatable guy. He's a wholesome guy. Maybe this is something casual golf fans or casual sports fans can get behind. Oh, I think you're muted there, Huss.
Sorry about that. Ludwig Aberg, superstar in the making. He will be in that Butler cabin at some point, getting that green jacket on him. I would place a wager on that. And you mentioned, I mean, Homa, Morikawa, great weekends. DeChambeau was right there. Xander, automatic top 10, even after his rough start. I know Dusty was pumped with that. As far as the bets go, we should quickly go back to Friday. I don't know how many lock shoppers were with us on the Greggy special to make the cut, but I wanted to kill Hideki Matsuyama. First of all, I was heavy in on Hideki, and he was very, very disappointing overall. But he went in. It looked like the cut was going to be +5. He was 4 over, and he doubled the 18th hole. And luckily, thanks to JT blowing up and a couple of other guys, the cut moved at that point to 6 over. So we were able to cash the Greggy Golf special, which was nice. Did cash the Akshay head-to-head versus Denny McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
I did get in on that Tiger Woods prop that you guys had, plus
that was awesome.
Tiger to make the cut, but finish outside the top 30. He ended up being basically last of the players that came in. It wasn't a great weekend for Tiger. The guy that's really on my shit list, though, is Matt Fitzpatrick.
Fitzy.
He was right there on the weekend. And again, I had him top Englishman. I had him top 20. which should have been a lock. He was right flirting with the top 10 most of the while, and then he triples the fourth hole yesterday. Never really got it back. He would have had to go really low. Well, I guess he would have only had to go 1 under or 2 under to win. Well, I shouldn't say that because Tommy Fleetwood was so good yesterday. He kind of ran away with top Englishman. But overall, I mean, some of those came in. A bunch of the other ones that we were sort of thinking, certainly Hideki's top 10 did not come in. That whacked one of our parlays. But Xander came through with what we thought he'd be, a contending player, not necessarily top 5. Our 28th or 33s on Oberg were live throughout the afternoon, but it really did come back to that plus 450 or plus 475 on Scotty Scheffler that ended up being the winning bet. And as we mentioned, we couldn't really be too surprised. What do you think about Jon Rahm over the entire week? Because Rahm's presser right at the beginning, he seemed agitated. I don't know what he was expecting when he ended up going against everything that he ever said, taking the bag and going to the Live Tour. And then coming back and playing like he just was not himself. And how awkward was the Butler cabin yesterday with him putting the jacket on Scotty Scheffler? I mean, I don't know what he was expecting, but he should have expected a little chillier or frostier reception. He got it, and I don't think he handled it very well on the course or off of it.
No, he looked uncomfortable. You say awkward. I think that's the perfect way. He looked awkward and uncomfortable the entire weekend. And I briefly mentioned it on our show on Monday when we did the quick look ahead preview. I said that for Jon Rahm, obviously you deal with all this live stuff, but even in a year that doesn't involve any of the live thing, there's a reason why not too many guys have been able to go back to back. There's just so many responsibilities. You've got the dinner, you've got media appearances. There's just a lot on your plate. And you couple that with him, it's his first time back since basically lying to everyone's face, saying he, lives a joke, he would never leave, and then he goes and gets the bag. You couple all that together, and the fact of the matter is, it wasn't really lighting the world on fire on the Live Tour anyways. He wasn't coming into great form anyways either. So I think it was a recipe for disaster for Jon Rahm, and that's why he was nowhere near any of my plays. I was okay living with if he did come and put on a historic, because let's be honest, there's only a handful of guys I think on this planet that can dethrone Scheffler right now, and that's him. But he's got to, when he's on, he's on. He was not on. I don't think he was there mentally either. So for me personally, I can't say I'm really surprised, but I think you nailed it on the head. Awkward and uncomfortable for Jon Rahm pretty much from that first media press conference to the last time we saw him at the Butler cabin putting on that jacket. But one other thing I wanted to quickly talk about before we do move on with some of those bets. You talked about the shit list for Matty Fitz. Sid Tagala is on mine, and I know I'm going to get back to betting him, but what a disappointing week it was for him. He did make the cut. He was one of the few players, I shouldn't say few, but a bunch of the players that did end up making the cut because the cut jumped so drastically. I thought maybe there was a chance he could heat up and finish strong. Just he couldn't get anything going all week long. That was really disappointing. I had him obviously to win, but I had him also top 20 that he didn't come close to. And he also ruined another awesome parlay, which I thought at the start of the week was looking really good. And it was really Tagala was the only one who couldn't come through. It was Tagala top 20, Scheffler top 10, and our boy Bhatia to make the cut. And Bhatia did his. Bhatia almost finished inside the top 30. Like I thought for his first time there, coming off a win with a bum shoulder, I thought he performed pretty well, all things considered. But Diallo, man, he was disappointing. Again, he's one of my guys, so I'm probably going to go back to riding him anyways. Maybe it's a 1-week suspension. But I'm so pissed off myself for not betting Tommy Fleetwood top 10 because that's just what this guy does. He never comes close to contending, but he backdoors himself into all these awesome finishes. And I've backed him so many times in majors, and maybe because, or not even just majors, any of these tournaments. I was the only person north of the border that was cheering for Tommy Fleetwood when Nick Taylor and him were going in that playoff because I had a pretty heavy wager on him to win. I am the card-carrying member, or one of the many of the Tommy Fleetwood club. I didn't back him this week, and the whole week I didn't feel bad about it until he backdoored his way into that top 10. Once again, he was almost in I think he actually maybe did finish in the top 5. But he does this all the time. He does this all the time. So my new rule is, and I love Tommy, he's my guy. I'm not going to bet him outright, but I will bet him top 10. I think a parlay going forward is Xander and Tommy Fleetwood top 10.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to finish. We know they're not going to finish.
He finished T3, 7 shots back of Scotty. But, I mean, listen, and that's part of the fact that Morikawa and Max faded a little bit. Although, you know what? Homa ended up being 1 over. Morikawa was 2 over. I mean, the course played so difficult over the course of this tournament. The fact that Scheffler was able to get to 11 just speaks to the brilliance of his game.
But
so we move on
quickly though. Let's not quite move on yet. I just want to hit this real quick when we're looking at some of these odds here, because you mentioned Ludwig Aberg putting on a jacket at some point, and I think Oberg for sure is going to win a major at some point. But we already have odds for him to win a major this year. It's at plus 485. If you go to the golf specials, you can find that there. So Ludwig Oberg to win a major this season in 2024, plus 485. And then also this one that I love, because I think we might be on the Scotty sweep in 2024. We have odds for how many majors he will exactly win. If you think the Masters is the only thing he's going to win, that's at minus 222. Exactly 2 majors won, plus 160, which is actually insane that we're talking these low of odds. Exactly to win 3 is 16-1. And then for the clean
slam
sweep, the Scotty Slam, 60-1. I will be placing some wagers on a couple of those. But that just goes to show you the pure excellence that we're seeing from Scotty right now.
Odds are up for the Open Championship as well. Scotty's plus 550 there. Rory 10. Rom 12. Where's our boy Ludwig? Luda 22. 22 for the Open Championship and the PGA Championship. Scheffler's plus 450 and Ludwig is 18-1. It's interesting. I'm looking at a couple guys on that list. Victor Hovland and Brooks Koepka. Vic's Friday was just a disaster.
Whoa.
81. Now, again, those conditions were so brutal. I almost give guys a pass because it was so hard. And if you were unfortunate enough to be playing late in the afternoon, I'm not sure that Augusta's ever played more difficult than that. But I do see a lot of Brooks, and man, what a no-show from Brooks on the weekend. I mean, I guess at least he made the cut. But if you would have told me that he was going to be tied with Jose Maria Olazabal at the end of the tournament, I don't know what the number we could have got on that was, but it would have been significant. Hey, moving on before we get to the pucks for tonight. Did you take in the UFC?
I did watch some of the UFC, and I think I know what your question's going to be, but that was a loaded card. That was unbelievable. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and Max Holloway's got to be one of the toughest guy on the planet. That him going toe to toe at the end of that round with Gaethje was.
He didn't need to either, right? He was comfortably on. Like, what a tough SOB that
he could. No, that's why it was for the BMF championship. That's why it was for the BMF belt. And that is just a complete competitor. He could have taken a nap in that corner for the second half of that round. He was winning that fight, no problem. But he goes toe-to-toe with Gaethje. They exchange his blows. Could have easily got knocked out and thrown the last 4 rounds out the window, but that was insane. That was awesome. Alex Pereira, I know a lot of people were thinking that maybe Jamal Hill could have picked up the upset, but Pereira just made short work of him. I thought it was a really awesome card. I know some people were hoping that maybe Conor McGregor was going to be on the card and bring him out of retirement, or some of the bigger names. But when you talk to like the true UFC fans, the hardcores, again, I'm a casual, but I still
I'm a real casual, and I was sort of disappointed. I kind of expected that 300 would have a McGregor or some of those other guys. Apparently, there was some rumors that Lesnar was maybe going to be involved. But of course, with all the fallout of the Vince McMahon lawsuit, I think he's a little radioactive right now. Not that the UFC really normally cares about that stuff. No. But I will say this. I blindly, and folks, this is another great reason to play over at Coolbet. Great promo for the UFC with the free $25 bet. So I was sort of looking at the card. I bet it more on odds. I didn't want to take a really short guy. I took Pereira to win. And I see right now I'm locked and loaded. I've won that bet, and I'm locked and loaded for a free 25er today, which we'll probably throw down on the hockey tonight. So overall, great note, and make sure to pay attention to the promotions tab, and we can you can get in on that. I'm not sure. Dusty says he'll cop. Well, if he's going to be in about 10 minutes, that's going to be close to the end of the show. So, Zach, hey, do you guys need us to fire off your keyword or whatever word for the promo?
Yes. Dusty will be back for that. Dusty will be back for that.
Oh, okay. I know you guys usually do it around this time. But yes, let's talk a little hockey right now. And Pat, I'm not sure if you noticed what the Jets did on the weekend.
Oh, dude, did I ever?
This is a team that looks ready to go for the playoffs, pounding the Avalanche 7-0 in the biggest game of the year. Avs get booed off the ice at home, and the Jets go into Dallas and Colorado, outscore them 10-0, back-to-back shutouts right now, poised to win the Jennings. And as I was saying right off the top, the vibes are very, very high. But tonight, huge games when it comes to the Eastern Conference playoff race. And I'm going to pull this up right now. This is the way the wild card is looking. The Caps are in over Detroit on account of regulation wins. They're both tied at 87. Philly is 87, but they only have one more game. Pittsburgh is 1 point back at 86 with 2 more games. So every one of those teams has to win, which brings us to the slate tonight. And we'll get the starting goaltenders in a minute. The Wings are at home to the Montreal Canadiens. They're a minus 203 favorite. Habs plus 171. The Islanders, who are just about clinched, they're in New Jersey taking on the Devils. The Islanders are a minus 116 favorite. And then you got this game that Pittsburgh absolutely has to have. No two ways about it. Pittsburgh minus 121 favorites at home to the Nashville Predators. Preds are plus 103. And the Preds, I'm pretty sure the Preds are locked into their spot. This is the Preds' last game of the season as well.
I saw that earlier. I don't know how that is possible.
So listen, if the Preds lose tonight, Vegas could actually leapfrog them and finish in the second wild card, even if they don't catch LA. And that would mean Vegas would be going up against the Vancouver Canucks. I'm sure they'd rather play Vancouver, a team that they know much more than Dallas, who has been, who will be the number 1 seed. overall. Looks like Dusty's ready to come in. Just quickly, these other games. Buffalo and Tampa. Tampa minus 171. Boston in Washington. Huge game for the Caps. Caps plus 131 home dogs. Sens at Rangers. Rangers minus 229. Sharks and Oilers. Oilers a massive minus 463 favorite. And the Minnesota Wild taking on the LA Kings. Kings at minus 168. The Kings with 2 wins can book a ticket to Edmonton in the first round and stay ahead of the Vegas Golden Knights. What's up, dude?
Hello, boys. Thanks for sliding in there. I guess I missed all the Masters talk. We were shooting something for YouTube that took a little bit longer than expected, but thanks for holding down the fort. I probably missed all of the Masters chat, but I will say shout out to Xander in the top 10 for salvaging what would have been a disastrous week for me otherwise. That was huge, and I know you guys probably already gave him his props, but Scotty Scheffler is a golf robot. It's just that simple. I mean, win, second win over a 4-tournament stretch? Like, come on. That was insane.
Well, and
that second should have been a win.
We remember the plus 575, the shortest number ever bet in the lock shop on a golf tournament. And Scotty comes back with the 64 and wins on Sunday. I mean, it's the Masters. Everybody's there. Plus 450. Come on. But he ended up getting it done. Dusty, we were just going through these hockey games, and I know there's been some love for the weekend the Jets had.
Oh man,
in the chat. Holy smokes, people are ready to go tonight. But where are the Oilers at right now? What's the vibe around the Oil going into tonight in a game that, I guess. Well, there's not technically they still could catch the Vancouver Canucks.
Highly unlikely, but still mathematically possible, right?
Would that be good?
I did think we didn't waste much time on our show this morning talking about it, just simply because it's highly unlikely. Like Vancouver would have to basically win nothing, and the Oilers would have to win everything the rest of the way. The discussion on our show today, and I did fire Jake EST parlay. Connor McDavid looks like he's going to be back in the lineup tonight, 1 assist away from 100. So I've got him over 1.5 assists tonight as he tries to make up for lost time. Plus a couple of other things tonight in this game. Who knows with the way that they've played lately? But we were talking about this morning on the show. It's bizarro Winnipeg here. Us, you guys had that 6-game losing streak. And then you haven't lost since, right? Wasn't it a 6-game losing streak? And then
6 here, just ran the table through the gauntlet of the Central Division. Won in Minnesota, played like crap in Nashville. That was the game I was at, but Hellebuck stood on his head. And then the team repaid him, and both goalies really. 3-0 in Dallas, 7-0 in Colorado. And the Jets just need 1 point to get home ice, which is huge in that Colorado series. Avs have been so good at home this year. Although the Jets have beaten them. Jets swept the season series against Colorado, 3-0.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Crazy.
That's cool. That's like the Canucks. They swept the Oilers. I mean, the Canucks are basically finishing first because they took all 8 points from the Edmonton Oilers in this head-to-head this year. So that had some people panicking. But people were talking about momentum heading into the playoffs. Right? You lose to the Coyotes on Friday. You lose to the Canucks on Saturday. You got San Jose tonight. It is ridiculous. Nashville's playing their final game tonight. The Oilers have 3 left. The Oilers still play 3 more games this season. They get San Jose tonight, then they go back-to-backs against Arizona and Colorado to wrap up the year. So a chance to kind of get back on track after losing a couple here. And the whole head-to-head against Vancouver I find interesting because the first 3 games against Vancouver this year, it was Jay Woodcroft. So it's not even the same team anymore. And then they didn't have McDavid on Saturday night, so they really haven't played Vancouver with the team that they would be taking into the playoffs. So we'll see. But as far as the games go tonight, I caught a few of them. I don't know. Did you guys talk about the Islanders game? Because I was on the Islanders this morning on the Nielsen show for the Coolbet hotline of the day.
Funny you say that. That is the first thing that I threw in and plugged it in. The other game that I think I'm going to jump on is Pittsburgh. I mean, we've been riding with Pittsburgh over the last little while. They're 1 point back. We kind of laid it out. They're 1 point back of Washington and Detroit. This is an absolute must win for them. And as far as Nashville goes, Nashville, I guess if they lose this game, they could get caught by Vegas and end up being in the second wild card.
Yeah.
which would mean a trip to Dallas. I think Nashville would love to play Vancouver as opposed to Dallas, who they've gone head-to-head with, throughout the year in the division. That being said, though, I mean, I believe in Sid. This is remember the way they folded last year and lost to Chicago at home, and it cost them a spot in the playoffs. I think that they come up with one of their best performances tonight. So I don't mind Pittsburgh as a short home favorite at -121.
Yeah, I like Pittsburgh, and I like the Islanders of putting together some sort of parlay, which we probably are, so we would need one more. What I'll also probably do in that Nashville Penguins game as well is I'll probably sprinkle overtime. Plus 316 for those two teams to go to overtime tonight. I mean, a huge game for both teams. I'll probably sprinkle OT in that Pittsburgh-Nashville game. But on the parlay, Penguins -121, Islanders -116. Huge game for the Red Wings, obviously trying to stay into the mix as well. Washington's a +131 home dog against Boston. Obviously, the Caps trying to stay in the driver's seat in that spot right now. Huss, what else jumped off the page here for you?
Well, I like the Bruins. I like the Bruins in that game. Like, I don't believe or trust the Capitals at all. I can't believe we're still talking about them having an opportunity to still be in the playoffs. But if you look at Boston, Boston is only 1 point up on the Florida Panthers. Now, I guess if they got caught by Florida, who's got one more game, Boston has 2, they could slip down and end up playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. The problem for Boston is that as long as the Rangers win their game, and they're a heavy favorite tonight, I believe, who they're playing, the Sens?
Yeah, it's the Sens.
They're playing the Sens. They're going to be the 2 seed, which means they're going to be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. So whether it's Tampa or Toronto, 2 very, very good teams. But I do like them at -154. So if we're just looking, we got Islanders -116, Penguins -121, and the Bruins at -154. Right there in our usual speed spot, Dusty, +461 before a boost.
Yeah, not opposed to that. Patty, what do you think here? Is there a game that you like more than any of those 3?
I mean, the 2 first ones that you guys did mention are my 2 favorite bets for the only thing I just kind of like right now with the way things are rolling with this season. It's hungry dog runs faster, right? That's why Islanders can pretty much wrap up their season. The Devils have nothing to play for anymore. Nashville, I think, is pretty well locked into their spot. They're good to go. The Penguins are playing for their lives. I mean, I was thinking maybe Caps, +131, but the more you talk me into it, Huss, Boston really still wants to try to gain ground and hold on to that number 1 seed. And plus, like you mentioned, the Capitals are kind of fraudulent. And they also, I think, are without 2 of their top 4 defensemen right now. Boston should be able to pick them apart there. I kind of actually like, if I want a piece of the Caps, maybe it's like an Ovechkin goal or an Ovechkin over 2.5 points, because I think they're going to still be playing hard. It's just, I think they're punching above their weight here with a really good Bruins team.
All right, so we're looking at Islanders, Penguins money line, Bruins money line. Little 3-gamer we'll pass along to Jake. Let me just quickly dish out the key word here, boys, and we can wrap up, set up Winnipeg Sports Talk. Key word today here on the Lock Shop for the EST Flyaway to Vegas. You know how it works. You just text this word to 780-218-9999. We were giving away 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets to a Cirque show with flexible booking, courtesy our partners down at the airport, Fly, YEG. Today's key word is dime. Text DIME, D-I-M-E. Text DIME to 780-218-9999. Stay by your phone. Zach, we'll call a qualifier here in about 5-6 minutes. The keyword today is DIME, D-I-M-E. Text that to 780-218-9999. Rod Z with a quick trend on the Boston game tonight. Boston is 5-0 in the last 5 night games in Washington. He says, yes, Boston did lose a day game in Washington. So they're 5-1 overall, but the one was a day game. 5-0 in their last night games, Huss, if you believe in afternoon and evening trends. Classic mute situation, Huss. I think you're muted.
Right. We always call Connor Hellebuck Mr. Matinee because he just dominates the afternoon game. So I'm here for it, but I'm kind of with Patty. I think they're punching above their weight, and I think things get real interesting tonight. The big question is, do the Detroit Red Wings have a loss in them? I think they go back-to-back against Montreal, if I'm not mistaken, to finish up the let's just see this.
Like a home and home with the Habs to wrap?
Yes, home and home with the Habs, back-to-back nights. So if Detroit were to win both games, I think that would put them in. Although right now, if we look at I'm just pulling up wild card here. I guess the Caps, if they won both their games, they would be in. Pittsburgh still could technically catch the Islanders if the Islanders lost both their games, but I think we like the Islanders to win this one tonight. So it's going to come down to the Penguins needing to win this game tonight and hoping the Montreal Canadiens can do them a favor in one of these two games head-to-head against Detroit. And then if the Islanders win this game tonight, they clinch their playoff spot. And then that final game of the regular season between Pittsburgh and the Islanders means nothing for the Islanders, but could mean everything for Pittsburgh. So, but I like the parlay. I like the parlay. Plus 461. It'll be boosted up past 5-1. That's probably our most consistent sweet spot for the partner parlay. And considering Scotty Scheffler ruined all of our weekends, it would only be right to start it off on a Monday with a winner in the partner parlay.
I don't know if I could ever bet against Scotty Scheffler ever again. Sorry, Patty, go ahead.
No, we said that. We actually said that. If it's this inevitable, if I know, like, if you got it's different. If a football team that you feel is really going to win and you got it at plus 200, you'd be like, wait, what's going on here? I know a golf tournament's a weekend long, but if you are that confident of winning, take the damn number and run with it. And if he loses, he loses. Because at this point, he's inevitable. There are some specials. We talked about it as well for him, for the how many majors he can win. So take a look at that. I think that might pique your interest, Dusty. Something that piqued my interest, you mentioned McDavid. We are going to get those odds up for him once it is confirmed he's in. All indications, like you said, show that he is in. He was skating with Hyman and Henrique. Henrique right now to score a goal is at plus 250. I think it's obviously that they're going to want McDavid to try to hit 100, and not just to hit 100. I could see this being a get-right game, with especially how they've played over the last couple of games. They're playing against a Sharks team that has no interest in winning. All they care about is where they're going, which trip. Are they going up north to Muskoka? Are they going down south to Mexico? That's all that's on their mind right now. So Adam Henrique plus 250. And I imagine if we do get odds up for McDavid, that's probably going to move quickly as well. I also would maybe even consider it a sprinkle on Zach Hyman over 1.5 goals as well. So I think I'm going to lean in heavy here with some Oilers props with McDavid back here tonight.
Hyman over 1.5 goals plus 310. For sure. And on the EST parlay, McDavid over 1.5 assists. And then I think got Bouchard and Draisaitl points in the Oilers to win in regulation. That'll be up in the exclusives page here at some point. What are you laughing at, Huss?
Well, I got one other pick for you folks today.
Okay.
And you actually have to go down to the bottom of the NHL and click on season bets. Jets 20-1 to win the cup. And I kind of say that tongue in cheek, but listen, I mean, they play the way they have the last couple. They'll have a legitimate shot, and they'll be very tough to beat. But the reason why I bring that up is that I'm not sure things have recalibrated. I mean, Colorado is plus 950.
Fifth best odds.
Winnipeg is 20-1, and the Jets were as low as 13 or 14 earlier on. They had that losing streak. They came back, but it hasn't gone back up. In fact, I think they were 17 or 18, and now they're 20 right now. So as far as we'll see what happens. And I think probably on Friday, you're going to be away, but we'll do a big playoff preview. Maybe I'll see if I can lean on our old pal Andy McNeil to come on and give his models for everything for people before they get going. But it is interesting the way the Jets number has sort of faded a little bit at 20-1, because that's as high as it's been at any point in the last 2 months. And they're playing as well as they have all year. They've got 50 wins on the season and are 1 point away from having home ice against Colorado. Oilers And Canes, the co-favorite right now at 7-1 to win the cup. Number one team in the East, ahead of like the Rangers are 10-1. And they're going to be the number one seed in the East. The odds right now at Coolbet are interesting. And I think there's a few spots you might want to jump in on if you do like those teams before the regular season ends. Because I would imagine by the time we get to Friday and the matchups are official, I think the Jets will come down a little bit. But a team like, Edmonton, they've been there. It seems like the Rangers are a little undervalued just based on what they've done so far this year.
I want to just quickly look here. I just scrolled through some of the other competitors, and there is one right now that has the Jets at 10-1 to win the Stanley Cup.
So if you want the Jets,
10-1.
20's the number.
If you want the Jets, if you want the Jets, and you're not already on Coolbet, first off, shame on you. Secondly, deposit some money, use promo code LOCKSHOP, and put some money down on the Jets. 20-1. I'll do a bigger deep dive with the rest of the market, but this number that we have at Coolbet right now is by far the best number you can find
guys
for
do
the
not
Jets.
respect the Jets. Well, that's fine. That's fine. And
thanks a lot, F-Dog.
Trust me, this will be addressed today in our Coolbet line segment on WST, and I have a feeling. Do not move this number.
I was just going to say that number might be moved by then, Haas. Come on.
we're gonna move it right to the start of the show. Changing it around today. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, coming up on WST, lots of fallout from the weekend. We'll hear from Rick Bowness, some of the Jets. We're also going to hear from Jared Bednar and Devin Taves, who are in a state of shock after that game on Saturday. And then the team's practicing today. Nino Niederreiter back on the ice. We'll get to all of that. Jeff Hamilton and Adam Scully from Golf Talk Canada is going to jump on for a bit of a Masters recap as well. And we'll dive in a little bit more into the Coolbet lines and hopefully get that Lock Shop Partner Parlay up, which is already up right now.
It's up, 525.
Plus 525. Let me be one of the first people to bet it right now. We're locked in.
I bet the Henrique goal as Patty he hadn't even finished the sentence yet. I was like, okay, I'm in. So we're on that too. Haas, you have a good show. Pat, thanks for sliding in today, and I'll talk to you later, boys.
Thanks, fellas.
See you, boys.
There you go. That's Pat Gregor. Find him on Twitter at PGreggy, and of course, us, Winnipeg Sports Talk, firing up here in about 5 minutes time. All right, so let's get to our qualifier for the EST Flyaway to Vegas with FlyYG. We'll have another qualifier in the oil stream coming out with myself and Tommy Gazzola here on a game day. Connor McDavid looking like he's going to be back, baby. Zach, who's qualifying right now?
Grumpy Cat's qualifying.
Grumpy Cat. All right, let's go to Grumpy Cat today. Grumpy Cat, congratulations, buddy.
Thank you so much. Happy Halud to you. A day early.
Little early. Little else. Halud to you tomorrow, my friend. Who would you bring with you down to Vegas, Grumpy Cat?
I think I'd have to take the girlfriend or one of my buddy's wives.
Well, thanks. We'll talk to you later. Good luck.
See you. Bye.
I did not expect that one. That was also an answer we have not had yet in the EST Flyaway with FlyYG. I'll take my girlfriend or one of my buddy's wives. I says, pardon? That's a bit of a weird one. All right, that's going to do it for Lock Shop today. Once again, thanks to Huss and Patty. We're working on some fun stuff here at the EST offices. So more on that coming down the pipe. Oil Stream Game Day on the way here next. Brought to you by Boston Pizza, myself and Tommy getting you set. That's going to do it for Lock Shop today. Good luck tonight, and we will talk to you tomorrow.